Hi.
I can hear you, Patty. Hi.
Oh, people can hear me good. This is wonderful. Thank you.
Yes. I guess I'm the only one here now.
No, there's a bunch of people in here. They're logging on now.
Okay. Great, Patty.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
$2,000, and here are the charges: unpaid rent, items that may be broken or missing.
Okay, good. I'm glad everybody can hear.
Very general areas purposely.
I'm glad everything's good. I got some things I want to talk to you guys about. Arlene's getting in here. I'm just letting people log on, so bear with me, okay? We'll open the chat so I can see what you guys are saying. Hello, hello. We need to talk about a Senate bill that's out there, Assembly bill, Senate bill. Hang on and I'll look and see exactly what it's called. Why people are logging in. Let me go peek because I promised myself I would put it in a place where I could find it easily. I'm waiting for somebody to say, Patty, where are you? Where are you today, Patty? Senate Bill 436. And that would be to amend a 3-day notice to pay rent or quit to a 14-day notice to pay or quit. It passed the House of the Senate, so we need to watch that one, you guys. Let's get everybody in here. Admit all. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Just letting everybody log in. Melanie, come on. I know, for the first time in a long time, I was early. Doesn't always happen. Here comes Allie. So we're talking. Hi, everybody. So we're talking.
Wherever you are, it's a beautiful.
Okay, so I am actually coming to you live from my sister's backyard. I am in Bishop visiting, and we have the chickens over here that I don't know if you guys can see them. They're there just chickening away, doing their chickeny things. So I'm sure we'll hear them as we chit chat today. But yes, it is absolutely gorgeous. Bring eggs. Yes, plenty of eggs. I went deep sea fishing. I know we talked about that Wednesday, and I did really good fishing. I had a blast. I got 2 white sea bass, 2 halibut, and then limited out on everything else. So I got my fishing in and felt wonderful. And I don't eat fish. Watch everybody go, wait a minute, what, Patty? We can get your fish by doing what now? I don't eat them. I don't care for fish. So I bring them to my family. My family loves them. My sister is extremely grateful. And she lets me hang out at her house, and she lives in the Sierras. So I then get to fish for trout and go hiking. And we went camping for a few days. That was a lot of fun. We came back yesterday. And I will probably put myself back in the LA basin tomorrow, maybe Friday. So I'm still kind of in the area, but I'm just enjoying it. I mean, we're sitting outside. There's no dogs barking at the moment. I know, right? I knew those riots were coming, so I left. I'm just kidding. I had no idea. Don't even want to talk about that because I haven't seen what's going on. But I can tell you this. When you don't get to see what's going on, what you hear makes up for it. I mean, some of the preposterous things that we read on the internet, and you go, yeah, I really don't think that's happening. Let me call a friend and ask. And they're like, no, where are you getting this information? Look, I got strings all over. We're going fishing later. Can you tell? And one of the cats is coming over. So one of the things I was concerned about was the 3-day notice going to a 14-day notice. I know AGLA is seriously opposing that. So is everybody else. We don't want to give extra time if we don't have to. This has been something that's been a battle for decades that we've been fighting and trying to keep up with. So keep that in mind, please. Hang on, I'm still letting people in. And for those of you that didn't know, we are live from my sister's backyard. I brought her fish and she said, you can go live in my backyard. I said, that's wonderful because you built this new hen house. She has a new chicken coop. We have chickens grazing back here and we'll probably hear them. But she lives just backed up to Bishop Creek. So it's about, I don't know, maybe 75 yards to get to the creek to go fishing. It's not that bad. I promise. And then the Sierra Nevada mountain range is on the front end of the property. And I was going to try to do something where you guys could see the background of the snow on the hills and all of that. But the reality of that is when I get into those areas where you would have a great view of it, there's no cell service. So it didn't work out the way I wanted it to, but I tried. Sometimes everything doesn't work out the way that we want it to. Yes, I got out of town just in time. Yes, I will bring eggs. That is the least of the things to bring. There's so many interesting things when you visit a small town and like their little general store. You know, that old school thing where all the locals would come with all their homemade lotions and soaps and foods and snacks and cheeses, and it's like that. And I really like that. We traveled a lot when I was a kid and did a lot of that kind of stuff, so I enjoy being around that. How do you verify that the proposed tenant paid the rent on time? That's a good question. You can't. You can't. The reason being is there's humans involved. And why I say that is simple. I'm trying to make sure you guys can see the chickens if they come out, but I realize you can't unless I do some maneuvering. So,
No, one walked by, we saw it.
oh, okay, good. Like, there's chickens back there, I promise. There's 6 of them, I think. Yeah. And there's one that's all black and she's got glimmers of green on her. It's gorgeous, like a mallard duck, you know, that shimmering, glistening green that comes through on the black. But she is one mean, evil, wicked hen, let me tell you.
I thought they were supposed to be affectionate. We saw the white one walk by.
Well, the white one's fine. Black one got 4 new teenagers in town and she's not having it. She doesn't like the new teenagers so much. So she's showing them who's boss. I'm sure we'll hear her later. She is quite vocal. Bishop has non-paying tenants. They actually do evictions here, believe it or not. Not too many. Most of the demographic is there's I'm going to say it wrong. There's Indian land, and that's not what I want to call it. Reservations. There's Indian reservations in the area, so there's some of that going on too, which can be challenging when you're dealing with members of a tribe. Can you get bank receipts to show a payment was made? What are you trying to figure out? Okay, help me understand. Patty, how do you verify that a proposed tenant paid the rent on time? The answer to that is you can't. The reason being you're going to call the landlord and you're going to ask them, did they pay the rent on time? And if the landlord wants them out of their house, what do you think they're going to tell you? And how do you even know that it's the landlord that you're calling? Ooh, did that all click? Okay. Making sure you're paying attention. Remember, all those verifications that you can do are all telephone numbers provided to you by whom? Who gave you those numbers to call? Am I going to have you call exactly who I want you to call? Hey, Aunt Susie, I want you to answer the phone like this week. Let me
Patty,
put this. Yeah,
you
go
can,
ahead.
if you request that the tenant shows you their bank statements, you can check to see whether that amount has been, they
You
wrote a
can
check, if
see
the check
when that amount was paid. Yes. You can see if it was made in partial payments. And now they're providing you bank statements. And just remember one thing, anything can be altered these days. So pay attention. Okay. Pay attention. I used to look at what's being bought on bank statements too. You know, if you're door dashing on a daily, you might have a problem. That's expensive. Just saying. There's a lot of information you guys can figure out and pinpoint from bank statements and credit reports. You just got to learn to read between the lines. There we go. Between the lines.
Eddie, I want to increase rent. Can I increase 8% or less? It's JCO and RCO. And how many months in advance do I have to give them notice?
It's under the just cause ordinance and what else?
And RCO,
RSO?
yeah, RSO,
3% is the maximum.
but it's not 8%.
No. I believe LARSO is currently at 3%. Arlene's
But
going to
it's
yell. Arlene,
Starting, I think it's starting August.
August
but
is
it's-
at 3%. Right now it's at what, 4?
4.
It's at
But
4
it's-
right now, and you have to do a 30-day notice.
But it's JCO too.
That has only to deal with when you're terminating tenancy.
Oh, I see. But
Just
it's-
cause ordinance means you can evict, but not just, you have to have cause. It's not just cause you want to. Okay?
Okay.
Got that? Just
Yeah.
cause means you have to have a reason, and it's not just cause you want to. That's all that means when you're terminating tenancy.
Right,
thanks.
but if it's a single family, is it a single
Yeah.
family?
Yes, it's
And
a single
is
family.
is it part of TPA? It's
What do
part
you
of
mean?
statement.
It
When
would
they
be
signed the lease, did they check that that you're exempt from 1482?
Yes.
Okay, then you can raise it basically whatever you want, but up to 10%.
careful,
Yeah.
Arlene.
Yeah.
Can I raise 7 to? I don't want to raise 10%. I want to raise like 7 or 8.
What city?
Tarzana.
Is that LA?
LA
It's-
County.
Yeah.
And she's under LARSO and the just cause ordinance.
You can't be under both. For the same
That's
property.
that's what they told me.
She's probably exempt. Do you pay SCEP fees? Let's start there.
What is kept fees?
If you don't know what I'm talking about, the answer
No.
is no. You would know.
No, I don't.
Okay. And do
No,
you pay
if she's JCO, she can't be RSO.
exactly? So I think that she's not RSO because she doesn't pay SCEP fees and it's a single family residence. It's most likely exempt from LARSO, but that makes her subject to JCO. But she's not
Correct.
she's not trying to terminate tenancy, so it has no bearing in the situation. So I would be under the TPA at this point, erring on the side of caution between 7 and 8%.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, but when I called AOL, they said it's a JCO and RSO. So I got lost.
You got to understand when you're asking somebody to pinpoint a rent increase in LA County, it is like walking through a minefield while blindfolded. Okay? It's
Okay.
no joke. They're going to want to narrow it down to the city to get it exact. They want to see everything that governs you, how you're protected, blah, 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 blah. That's why you're getting so many different answers, is everybody's trying to err on the side of caution. You heard my first answer was 3%, because that's LARSO's number, right? But Arlene corrected us not until August 1st, correct?
Yeah. But the other thing is, Patty, she can go to that State House LA that tells you, you put the address in and it tells you what.
That's probably what's telling her that she's governed by LARSO. The difference there is she's a single family residence, so she's exempt from LARSO, and that program isn't going to tell you which addresses are exempt and which ones aren't.
Oh,
It doesn't, because I checked it myself online. It doesn't show the addresses, you are right. It
It
doesn't,
doesn't tell you whether you filed an exemption on a
Yeah.
SFR. That's what it doesn't tell you.
yeah, you're right.
So that's where it gets a little bit confusing, and you have to take into account, okay, it's a single family residence. Did you notify them that you're exempt from AB 1480?
Yes,
So
they
she did that
signed it.
too.
I
So
have
now
some.
that puts her at exempt, 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 but we don't want her to raise the rent too high and end up in an orange jumpsuit. So with all of that said, I think you're fine between 7 and 8%. Make sure
Okay.
you,
Can I give them 60-day notice instead of 30-day notice?
there is no such thing as a 60-day notice of rent increase anymore. We lost
Oh,
it
okay.
during COVID. There is only 2 types of notices to increase rent. One is a 30-day and the other is 90.
Oh, okay.
There is no 60-day anymore. It doesn't exist.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
No problem. All right. Anybody else have questions? I know Arlene's found us some interesting information, and I talked to my web guy this morning. He's going to put it up on our website under tools, Arlene, for that LAHD
Oh,
discount.
good. Yeah, I thought that was helpful. Gives us some
Absolutely.
guidelines.
So just so you guys know what we're talking about, if you do a reduction in services, you have to do a reduction in rent. What'd you say, Patty? If you take away the swimming pool, you have to take away part of the rent. LAHD has now given us a guideline of what the dollar amount area is of that. And I am going to be putting that on the website as a tool for us to utilize until it changes. When they give you a bracket, it's this between this much and this much, that's going to be based on how many bedrooms there already are, how many bathrooms there already are, how many tenants there already are. So don't just look at that sliding scale of number and go to the least amount, because that's what we all want to do, because, you know, this business thrives off of making money, not losing it. So make sure that you're not doing that to yourself, because it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be good.
Well, if you have a 1 bedroom with a single person for parking, can you go to the lower level?
Hang on, Chris, log off and log back on. He's telling me he can hear us, but he can't participate and talk, and he's trying to. I'm telling him to log back off and log back on. I will let you back in. It's okay. Apparently he has something he wants to say on the issue, but we can't hear him. And hang on a second. I got all kinds of things. 3% from 7/1 to, that is correct. Susan, you're asking if LARSO is 3% from 7/1 of this year to 6/30. I think that, is it from July 1st or is it from August 1st? I think that's the question.
Let me look it up. Hold on.
Okay. Melanie says raise it 9.5%. Get them out. Hey, Patty, I sent you an email that we received from a tenant. They're in a single family home not covered by the TPA in San Bernardino County. You guys see how she worded her first? First, she's giving me information and then she's telling me. This is the greatest way, and I'm going to use you as an example before I answer your question, okay? You see how she's asking me a question? You guys pay attention to that. Because the reason that she does that is so I automatically know what the rules are. If you want to get more vital, direct information out of your attorney, when you ask them a question like, hey, how much can I raise my rent? You want to start with, it's in a single family home not covered by the TPA in San Bernardino County. Whatever it is that you have, whenever you're talking to your legal counsel, that's how you want to talk to them before you ask the questions, so that their brain reels in those rules. And they may still just look at you glossy-eyed and say, I'd have to look it up. But at least if you give that information, especially to me, it helps tremendously. They're upset about a few things, but their main concern is the rodents. They said that the rodents are in the house and outside but all videos and photos are outside. So far what you're telling me is all of the proof is on the exterior of the residence. Pay attention to that. You also want to have the exterminator check for droppings. They'll be able to tell you if they're on the inside or not. Pest control did catch one in the attic today. I hope they dispersed it. I'm sorry, I used dispatched it before. Grace and Chris. Letting people in, hang on. Okay. We're just getting them back, so hang on. Pest control, did they dispatch the one they caught in the attic today? Wink, wink. Sydney, I'm working on my disposition of security deposit under the DCBA, confirming no interest on security deposit at this time. As far as I know, interest on security deposit is only required under LARSO, LARSO, City of LA, and its governing parties, because that's everywhere now. Tarzana, San Pedro, Torrance.
Only after they've been there more than a year. You don't have to pay it the first year.
Correct, but DCBA is not required to pay interest on a security deposit at this time. Meaning the wind could blow tomorrow, the rules could change, and then I'd look like a big fat liar.
Right.
So as of today's date, no interest is required on a security deposit under DCBA's jurisdiction. How's that?
Sounds good. And then I have on that same question of deductions from my security deposit. I went in and looked at the unit. I took pictures. She moved in 9 years ago, so I don't have pre-pictures that I can find, but the kitchen and floors and bathroom and were all brand new. There's a big stain where the stove was. She didn't clean anything.
What day is your disposition need to be postmarked?
She moved out on the 2nd, so I have 21 days. So by the 23rd.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And the rule changes on July 1st.
The rule changes on July. What does that mean? Oh my goodness.
You have to have move-in photos as of July 1st.
Oh,
of
as
this
of
year.
July 1st.
So
Okay.
you're coming in as a grandfather clause is the nicest way I could say it to you, sweetie.
No, so that's good. So I know, but she didn't clean anything. She left some belongings behind in the back bathroom under the sink where she claims there was asbestos. She left some belongings in the upper cabinet in the laundry area. And then the handprints and dirty filthiness on the built-in cabinets in the bedroom. So those will have to be repainted. And her garage remote's damaged. So can I deduct for buying a new garage?
Everything that you
painting?
mentioned to me
Okay.
had to do with cleaning or
Yep.
damages.
Okay.
I didn't hear anything that sounded like wear and tear, like light scuff marks, furniture marks on the walls. That's wear and tear.
Right. There's some of that too. There is some,
Okay.
which that's fine. I know I have to paint anyway, but severe, repainting the built-in cabinet.
Cleanliness and damage is chargeable all day long and twice on Sunday.
And then, okay. And is there a reasonable cleaning fee that you suggest?
You
'Cause
guys are
I have
going to
to
ask.
I have to get it itemized, right?
Yep.
Okay.
You know what I want to tell you? What city is it in?
It's in Ladera Heights, Los Angeles County.
Honey, hire a cleaner and pay them.
Okay.
Whatever the bill is how much you're going to bill the tenant.
Okay.
It's the best way to keep you out of trouble.
Okay.
Does
But
that
I
make
have
sense?
to, I have to wait until the unit is there. I have my workers up there, redoing things now.
We'll get it all done within the 21 days and you'll be fine.
Okay, so I can get it done within 21 days, get a bill, but then remote controls, things like that, I can buy, get reimbursed for that.
Damage. Yep.
Damage.
Absolutely.
What about hauling out some things she left behind? Like
That's
things
trash
belong-
and debris left behind.
trash and debris. Okay, and I can charge for that as well?
Hauling. Yes.
Hauling.
Hauling, trash removal, dump fees.
Okay.
Patty, on that same topic for Sydney, wasn't the notice given on the 2nd? So then the 2nd,
The tenant moved out on the 2nd.
or sorry, the tenant moved out on the 2nd. So that's day 1. So it wouldn't be on the 23rd 23rd, correct? It would be on the 22nd, Patty?
Yeah, you're right.
21
'cause-
days? What is?
Yeah, and the day you receive the keys is day 1.
Okay, so I received the keys on the 2nd about 8 p.m. So then that's day 1.
That's day 1.
So 21. So the 22nd, it has to be postmarked and
On the 21st day, it must be postmarked.
on
So
the
if that falls on a day that the post service isn't open, you now have 20 days to complete your disposition.
I believe it's a Sunday, so
There you
no.
go. So now you want to mail it on Saturday, and I always give myself a buffer because you don't want to miss it.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question about paint.
Yes.
My whole house was touched up and painted and looked really nice when the people moved in. And now the entire house has to be painted. Primed in the kids' rooms and painted, along with fixing some gouges and some trim. I was gonna charge them for paint, priming and painting and repairs for the 2 kids' bedrooms because they were by far the worst. Is that okay?
More than likely, without looking at the photos, yes, based on what you're describing. Remember, the lifespan on paint is only 3 years. So if the tenant lived there 3 years and the whole house needs to be painted, not because of damage like gouges, nail holes, dirty hands, cleanliness, painting that wasn't allowed, was a modification to the property without written consent of the landlord, then you can charge for it. But you just need to be aware of the 3-year lifespan on paint, because they're going to argue it was wear and tear, it was wear and tear, it was wear and tear. And sometimes we have to prorate that lifespan, if that makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, ask me and I will explain in detail. They are stating that we have to let them out of their lease because of the rodents. The facts that they wrote it out to us and said that they are breaking the lease because of the rodents. It's up to you what you want to do if you want to let them out of the contract, especially if they're screaming rodents. But I have other questions. Have they called the health department? Have they called anybody to determine that there's rodents there, or are they just barking? And for those of you that now understand what I mean about a tenant barking, are they just running their mouth, making a lot of noise, barking for no reason because a butterfly went by? Or is there a problem there? If there is seriously a problem there, don't be a slumlord. And I know you're not, but that's the best way I could say fix the problem. If there's not, and if there was one in the attic, then we have presence of them. Why do we have presence of them? What's going on? Is there holes getting in that they're sealed up? Are they not properly containing their food and attracting rodents? It creates a bigger picture here. But the reality is, do you really want to go through a litigation in regards to rodents in today's courts? Who do you think they're going to side with?
Tenant.
I didn't say it, but I'm letting you put the pieces together. Okay. Is it a habitability issue if they're inside the unit? Absolutely. It's considered vermin in the eyes of the court and falls under the same category as bed bugs. Youch. Annual rent increases for rental units subject to the City of Los Angeles's rent stabilization RSO is effective July 1st of 2025 through June 30th of 2026 will be 3%. If the landlord provides gas and electric service, they can charge an additional 1% can be added. State law requires landlords provide 30-day written notice for rent increases of less than 10%. More than 10% is a 90-day notice. We don't have a 60-day anymore, just so everybody knows. And if you're going to do a rent increase over 10% that requires a 90-day notice, please ask yourself if you look good in orange. You're allowed to make a good faith estimate, but yeah, hire a cleaner and bill them. Yep, agreed, Chris. You said July 1st. What about tenants who moved in before July 1st? How will those cases be handled? They're going to be looked at as, do you have move-in photos? And I got a question, and I just want everybody's eyeballs to turn on, okay? Your move-in photos might be in your advertisement. I hope that made a bell go off in people's heads. You know, if you advertised on Zillow, if you pull it up right now, those would be your move-in photos, wouldn't they? You're welcome. If it was me, I would let them out of their lease and charge them daily rent until they're quickly out, plus normal cleaning charges. They sound like trouble to get rid of them ASAP and then address the real rats. Yes, address the fake rats first and then go after the real ones. Okay, Val, I love you. You are so funny.
Yeah, I have a perspective I want to mention again.
Go ahead.
As far as like security deposits, you have to understand what you really want is you want possession, because at that point things really change. You're really the boss again. And as long as you
hold on. Chris, she's in San Bernardino County.
So you're probably already the boss in a lot of ways. But I guess what I was gonna say is, as long as you're not really gouging on stuff and you're making good faith estimates and you're providing the receipts and the photos, and you shouldn't worry too much about stuff, because most people aren't going to spend the time and effort to go to small claims. And even if they do, they got to write you a letter which gives you the ability to settle. Okay, how about if I give you an extra $200 back? Will that satisfy you? Yes. Okay, here, I just need you to sign this and I'll send you a check. I mean,
There you go.
I think that's it's pretty unlikely. Now, on the other hand, if you're gonna pull stuff out of your rear, so to speak, and totally flout the law and do charge for things you're not allowed to, and that are like clear, that are mentioned in like the Department of Real Estate landlord tenant guide stuff, where there's no doubt about what's like Patti talks about, what's considered ordinary wear and tear and what's damage. If you're trying to recharacterize stuff that's ordinary wear and tear as damage, and you're taking it for like thousands, then I think you're more likely to have problems, and you definitely don't want to do that. But as far as other stuff, remember, it's a pain, and they got to get their proverbial butt together, their stuff together, to even manage to file a case. And it's pretty intimidating for the civilian to do that. Anyway, that's what I'm going to say. And that there are ways to frustrate them too. And they do have to send you a letter. So
yes, they do. And how many days in advance?
I honestly don't remember, but
It's
like
30. It's 30.
Yeah, you have lots of time to try and settle at that point. So I'm kind of the opinion, if it's like
once you get a demand letter, try to negotiate.
Right. Because if someone took the time, and that means they've maybe done a little research or have a friend or whatever and understand the law.
And in real life scenario, I'll give you one that I was helping with a management company. Arlene's trying to get back in. Hang on. Let me see if I can go find her. Hang on. There. I'm glad you guys can text me and tell me I can't get back in. Hang on. I'm trying to find out where I was. Whenever I get a demand letter, I look at my disposition. I look at my receipts. I look at my evidence, and I ask myself, how confident are you, Patti, in going to bat in front of a judge? And then I may reverse some charges. I may send them a check for the difference. I may give them $120 back and remove some things and see if that did it. If they're still coming back at me that they're going to come after me, I look again at my evidence. They're asking me, and I'll give a great example. There was an $830 cleaning bill, and I got it down to $600, and they still didn't want to pay it. BS, you're paying this. I can go to bat with this. You left clothes in the dryer. You can't tell me you left the house immaculate and I didn't have to do anything when you left a load of laundry in the dryer. And personal items in cabinets, it happens. It's what they do. It's what we all do. We forget things happen. But there comes a point when you've given away all of the possibilities and you're just standing your ground on that other amount. I will tell you, so far he hasn't filed on the $600, but I'm waiting. Let's see if he does. Holly, for the 21-day damage disposition letter, what if I can't find my tenant's new address? This is a great question. I'm evicting this tenant. We're really close to eviction day, but I doubt if our tenant will be giving me their forwarding information. Can I text it to them? No, Holly, I'm going to keep it real easy for you, okay? You have to mail it to their last known address. So mail it to your property. And when it comes in the mail, you're going to put return to sender on it and then drop it in your file. Okay?
Got it.
That is your evidence that you mailed it on that 21 day and you don't want to let it go. It's postmarked. It's got everything on it you need to defend you in a courtroom. So hold on to it like it's gold.
Okay.
Patty, what if the forwarding address they left is a PO box? Same, just mail it to that. Just mail it.
Mail it to that PO box. If you mail it to the house, it comes back to you, right? As not at this address, or it's going to come to you at the house and you're going to write not at this address and put it in your file. Because why send it back through the postal system if that's just what's going to happen?
Or if they've been responsible, it'll get forwarded to their new address. If they forwarded their mail.
Yeah. I mean, there's no way I'm going to get this guy's address. It's not going to, I've never evicted anybody before, but this guy is not happy with the situation. Too bad.
Too bad, so sad. It may take him a while to get a new address.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so that makes more sense if we're only required to mail it to their last known address. If they put in a forwarding address, it'll go to them. If not, it'll come back to you and hold on to it like it's gold.
Okay.
All right, Roadrunner is still telling me they have sent videos of rats outside of the house, but never inside like they stated. So, again, they're telling you this, but the evidence says otherwise. Okay? So if you're confident they don't have anything in the house, you can stand that ground. If it was me, I would just let them out of their contract. But I don't want to deal with the whole battle. And I get it. The owner's not letting you let them out. Is the owner ready for a lawsuit? Because that's what's going to happen. So I would start asking them if they have unlawful eviction coverage on their insurance policy. Ooh. I hear doors or ding-dong lights going off in people's heads. Wait, Patty, what'd you say? If a landlord has unlawful eviction coverage on their insurance policy and the tenant comes back later and tries to sue them for unlawfully evicting them, then you would be covered. And before you argue with me saying, Patty, there was no eviction here. If the landlord doesn't clean up the rats, he unlawfully evicted them by not cleaning up the rats. Make sense? It's how these people are filing the $500,000 lawsuits. They wait until they get out of the property and then come back and say that they were unlawfully evicted. Ooh, not only do I hear bells ringing, I see fireworks going off in the crowd. I'm just kidding, you guys, but it's just me trying to help you understand. In addition to hauling, cleaning fee, replace remotes, should I also deduct the $200 in late fees or let that go? That's up to you. You can always put that on there, and then if it's challenged or they send you a demand letter or tell you they're not happy, it's something you could give back. And then send them a revised disposition of security deposit whenever you give something back. Okay, you want to send the revision and take that part off and include that with the money you send them. Why? Why, Patty? Because anytime I give anything back, I want a paper trail stating that I've done so. And that's how you do that. You do a revised disposition of security deposit. Got it? Okay.
I think you should even try and negotiate for a release, a general release. I'll give you this, but I'll need you to sign a release.
A general release of liability and have no
everything under the sun.
Have no further interest in the property located at and the full address.
Yeah, but also I'd look for a really general one so that would potentially limit their ability to sue for anything.
How do you get the owners to agree? Ask them how well they're insured on their property. Wake them up. Are you insured for an unlawful eviction? Do you have that coverage? Those lawsuits start at $500,000. We are in California. This is a pro-tenant state. Did all of that help? I mean, that's how I would approach an owner. Well, hold on, let me see. You have a rat problem that tenants want out. What if that was your wife that lived there? Would you expect her to stay? And if the answer to that is yes, are you still married? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Sorry, I am human, you guys. And remember, sometimes Patty's first answer is sarcasm. Sorry. Melanie, ding, ding. I have a current similar paint issue in Kern County. Tenants just moved out and really tried hard to clean and patch paint, expecting to get a full deposit refund. My assistant doing the walkout pointed to them that they had painted with the wrong paint sheen. This happens all the time. They're very upset, and I haven't yet had an estimate to paint the interior. It may be more than their deposit. They were only there 1.5 years. They are living at a friend's house waiting for their deposit before they move back to Mexico. My contractor is on another big job, and I don't expect them to give me an estimate till next week. They are pestering my assistant and begging for their money. They also did a decent job at cleaning, but my professional cleaner said $230 for a thorough cleaning. Okay. But they really did a much better cleaning than other tenants. I don't think they're going to get any money back, but I'm not sure what to say to them today. I understand that you cleaned the property. However, you missed cleaning the fans, the windowsills, the oven, the windows. Those aren't cleaned. So you will be charged for that. And then you'll be charged for the painting of the sheen, the wrong color. We're going to see if we can touch that up or if we're going to have to paint the entire interior. But you will be responsible for that. It happens all the time. They paint semi-gloss over flat and the color matches, but the sheen doesn't. Should we have that in our insurance, the unlawful eviction? I would. I do. I can't answer your question directly. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I have a question about that.
Yes, Patty.
Is it
Thank you, Julia. Go ahead, Greg.
Is it explicitly in the policy or it's just not excluded?
It's specifically in the policy. It's an additional charge you pay for.
So it's usually would be like an addendum, right?
Yep.
And that's
they don't call it an addendum. They call it a rider.
Or an endorsement or something like that.
Something like that, or a rider on the policy.
And is the what is it called? Habitability, warranty of habitability coverage.
Breaching the warranty to provide habitable premises comes in that line under unlawful eviction.
Because my understanding from some people was that they were starting to specifically exclude it, but if they didn't and you had general liability, that it would potentially still be covered.
Is anything potentially still covered under general liability in California? Let's be honest.
Chris, I'm shopping now, trying to get insurance, and one company is offering the habitability, but with a 250 max of a claim, 250,000 for habitability.
That might help if you need to settle. Does that make sense?
Some of them are just not offering it at all. So
if I told you
we're having to move. I'm sorry, it's getting hot where I'm sitting.
If I told you what I learned about California LCs this week, I might panic you all.
Chris, be nice. And now everybody's like, what are you going to tell us about LLCs?
I know. I'm very curious now. What is this about LLCs?
Well, California LLCs are not as protective as you would think or were originally advertised. It can now do what's called a judicial foreclosure of your membership interests. So not just like get a typical charging order, but they can like foreclose on your interest, which sucks because a lot of other states don't. And then so you think, oh well, I'll just get an out-of-state LLC, like in a more debtor-friendly jurisdiction, like Nevada.
Are you telling us that they're catching on to our wily ways?
But the problem with that is they'll then your local communist state judge will use choice of law provisions to decide to use California law, even over a Nevada LLC.
Chris, play nice.
Yeah. I'm allowed to have an opinion. There's a First
We're
Amendment.
all allowed to have opinions. The Constitution, as far as I know, is still in place. Okay, what if the tenant wants the security deposit to be electronically sent to their credit union account they are moving abroad? It is completely and totally allowed to return a security deposit being electric bank. I said that wrong. Ooh, Patty, slow down. Your brain's going faster than your mouth, or vice versa. It is completely allowed to return a security deposit through electronic funds transfer. So to answer your question, Arlene, yes, absolutely.
Thanks, Patty.
No problem. You still have to snail mail and email the dispo paperwork because the provision of the law does not state that we can email them their paperwork. It still says that it must be mailed.
But that's just California, I think, right?
Yep. I don't know
Okay.
other laws for other
Okay.
states.
Okay.
Only
Okay, thanks.
federal fair housing is the only thing I can say that I know for other states because I do know federal fair housing law.
Okay.
But I would say always get something like that in writing so that they can make the mistake on the account number.
Absolutely. It's an electronic funds transfer that they're sending to you. And a lot of the programs now, Appfolio, Yardi, RentWise, they all allow you to return a security deposit electronically. It happens in a nanosecond. Tenants are more apt to it. It works well. Just please, for the love of God, snail mail the dispo paperwork. It says in California civil process that it must be postmarked within 21 days. How in the hell you get that off of an email, I have no idea. And how you would prove that to a court through an email, I know it's possible, but they don't look at that right now. That is not part of their judicial system that they recognize. But you can electronically refund it. I believe that law changed in 2019, maybe 2021. Because of COVID happening right there, my brain is all over the place, but it happened right in there with the electronic refund. No, it happened before that. It happened in 2016. Sorry, I can see the provision now. Sorry. Okay, hang on.
Do you recommend with sending the snail mailing the letter, do you recommend just giving them a check or cashier's check, or like you say, can we refund it?
You can electronic through Venmo, however you're gonna, electronic transfer is completely and totally allowed for sending them the money.
Okay.
But not the paperwork, okay? That's
Okay.
what I'm trying to say.
Yep, got it.
All the photos and all of that, you can email it if you'd like to, but it needs to be postmarked. I am returning the whole security deposit to the former tenants, no deductions per the owner's request. The check was made payable to all financially responsible tenants, but one of them now lives far away and is not able to cash the check. I asked for a notarized letter stating he is authorized. Nope. You want the easy way, Belsie? Get ready. Because it's so easy, it's silly. Okay, are you ready? I'm sorry, the law says that I must legally name all parties on the check. You can feel free to deposit in your local ATM. I don't think they'll give you any trouble. Tell them to stop. That was easy. Right? Because by law, we have to have everybody's name that was a tenant on that check. And what they do with that is between them. So if they just deposit it in an ATM, the ATM doesn't yell at them and tell them they can't. Okay? I have never had a problem once they do that and deposit it in the ATM, they never call me back saying it got rejected, I can't accept it. That has never happened to me. Knock on wood. In 20 years, that has never happened to me. So that's what I tell them is the ATM never argues with you. Stop going to a teller. But their reaction is to take it to a teller because it's got all these names on it. That's what gets them in trouble. Take it back to the computer. The computer doesn't care. Okay. So I'm glad I answered that. Holly, the sheriff has posted notice to vacate. Yes, baby. This past Friday, June 6th. This is our LARSO property in Boyle Heights. What's the approximate time frame for the actual eviction day? 6 weeks. They are taking 6 weeks from the time you sent the paperwork to the sheriff. I can't tell you when the actual eviction day will be. I will tell you it'll be 5 days after the notice they posted. Or anytime thereafter, but not before then.
So 5 days after the notice to vacate?
It could be any time 5 days after that notice to vacate.
Okay.
Because that notice to vacate gives them 5 days. But what I'm telling you is LA County.
Oh.
Hold on. I'm frozen. Hang on. It's me. It's my brain. It's not the computer.
You got me hanging.
Hold on, because I'm trying to see it in my brain. I should do this when my brain's working, because I know it looks like I just froze, but no, I froze. It was me. Sorry. Because I'm in hyper focus mode, if that makes sense. And I freeze. That's how I hyper focus until I find the answer. LA County Sheriff. It's Long Beach and Lancaster right now are the most delayed. They're taking 6 weeks from the time you send them the paperwork. Everybody else is taking anywhere from 3 to 4 weeks.
Hi. Thank you.
Okay, so I should look back.
Find out when your legal counsel submitted the paperwork to the sheriff's office.
Okay.
And then go your 6 weeks from there, or your 3 weeks from there, depending on area.
Okay. So I'm closer to that happy dance, Patty?
Yes, you're closer to the happy dance, honey. But until that red piece of paper goes up in the window, we don't dance.
Okay.
Got it? Bright red piece of paper, dancing.
That's when the sheriff puts that up after the tenant has left, or?
They are kicking them out and taping that up in the window.
Okay.
But until that gets taped up in the window, there's no happy dance, because the tenant could file a bankruptcy order. They could file a motion to stay. They could file all kinds of stuff. Right. So, in my professional opinion, the happy dance starts when that scarlet red letter gets taped up in the window. That's when you're dancing.
Okay. All right.
And yes, Sydney, you can use Zelle. What was the other thing you're going to have to ask Chris about breaching the warranty to provide habitable premises? Let me say it this way. There is an implied warranty, meaning it is implied. It doesn't have to be in writing. That an owner of a property collecting rent from a tenant will provide them with a habitable dwelling. When you don't provide them with a habitable dwelling, they call it breaching the warranty to provide a habitable dwelling. Make sense?
Yes, that makes sense, Patty. Thank you.
No worries. I'm just trying to teach you as I go. I think you could do an entire hour on insurance. Yep, I could. And with the help of all of you, I absolutely could. And Arlene may be getting us somebody to talk to us about insurance. She's like, what'd you just say, Patty? She's been working so hard with insurance. As soon as we find a good one and we get somebody, I'm going to have them on here as a guest speaker to talk to us and answer all of your questions.
Yeah, I have somebody else on something else I want to talk to you about too that I think may be good for everybody.
Okay, and I'm all for it, you guys. If you guys come across something and you're like, this would be great for our team, that's what I love about us, is we all share. And so many people in this industry don't do that. And that's why I started this, so we could have a group of people that actually want to help other people in the same boat. But yes, as soon as we get something on insurance, Val, I'm all about it. Chris, is this a new LLC nightmare? Val is asking you, Chris. LA County Sheriff may make a Val, you just gave me a great point. Yes, amen, sister. LA County Sheriff may take longer due to these crazy protests. They may not meet the 5-day date. Let me explain something to you. It's not going to be just LA County. When they pull sheriffs to go help with something like the LA riots, they pull the marshals that do our lockouts to go help with that. You understand? Paying attention? That's how they pull the resources, is they may put lockouts on hold until that dissipates. Value at a great point. Totally skip my little blonde brain. Yes, Julia. Yes. Nothing is more disgusting than when you're standing in an eviction lockout and the sheriff shows up and you're like, zippity-doo-dah. And the tenant goes, oh, I filed for bankruptcy. And the sheriff goes, okay, we're not doing the lockout today. Let's go. And you turn around and walk away. And then you have to file a motion of relief of stay from the bankruptcy. It takes about 30 days. Then you have to go get the writ reissued and get back in line with the sheriff's department again. And then usually, if they really want to be jerks, and I'm not trying to scare anybody, let's say that the husband filed bankruptcy. When the sheriff comes back the second time to lock him out, that's when the wife files bankruptcy. Now you get to do that process again. Sorry, I'm not frozen. I'm trying to keep my opinion to myself.
So does that mean, let's say the wife files bankruptcy and now the adult daughter who's on the lease, so then you do a bankruptcy
You're
thing again?
understanding the vicious
and then
cycle,
now we can,
sweetheart. You're understanding the cycle.
oh my gosh, so that's, okay. I don't even know what to say to that, but okay, I'm
I
speechless.
try not to freak people out by all the things that could happen, because let's face it, if we all sat here and thought about the what ifs, we'd be in the loony bin on Xanax. Okay? There's just so many what ifs out there. So my rule is no happy dance until the red piece of paper goes up in the window. Because once that happens, they have surrendered the writ of possession, or they have restored the premises to the proper individual. They have executed the writ of possession. Okay? And I could tell you this, if the tenant then files an emergency ex parte order for an emergency court hearing after the lockout, pay attention. Remember that red piece of paper went in the window? And now the tenant goes, oh shit, they locked me out, runs down to the courthouse, files an emergency ex parte motion to stay the eviction due to a hardship or whatever reason. And then the next day, everybody has to go into court. Do you know what the judge says? Everybody ready for this? This is what the judge says. I'm sorry, I no longer have jurisdiction, because the premises have been restored to the owner and the owner now has possession. And the court no longer has jurisdiction. And that's how that works. Dismissed. Done. Too bad, so sad. Okay? So now you know why I'm so happy about that red piece of paper, because if they try to go do something then to stay, I'll tell you this, in how long have I been doing this? Too goddamn long. 35 years. We'll just go with that number for the moment, but I know it's more than that. 35 years plus. I have only had to let someone back in once in 35 years. And you guys know how many evictions I've done. I don't have to tell you. But once that red piece of paper goes up in the window, the fat lady song right there. It's time to smoke a cigar. That's the fat lady singing. The party's over, okay?
Patti, the emergency ex parte thing, I don't understand that. You said it gets restored to the owner, therefore the judge has no jurisdiction.
Hold on. Stop. Red piece of paper gets taped up in the window at the sheriff lockout, meaning they have executed the writ of possession. They have done their job and rendered the possession of the property back to the landlord. Okay, the red piece of paper went up. The tenant got locked out. The tenant then goes, oh shit, and runs down to the courthouse and files an emergency ex parte, which is emergency hearing, for them to be heard saying that they need to stay the eviction. They can't be evicted. They got a sick kid, whatever the story is. The judge says, I no longer have jurisdiction because the premises have been restored to the owner. So they no longer have any say-so of what's going on.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
And then what?
That's it. Your motion is denied. Go home, tenant. Oh, you don't have one anymore. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like what you're saying is when you get that red piece of paper up, you get the locks changed.
When that red piece of paper goes up, Patty's happy dancing. The fat lady's singing. We're smoking a cigar. The locksmith is drilling, putting in new locks already. That red piece of paper is is what I want you all focused on, not anything that happens before that red piece of paper, because that can change. And what it does is it messes with us mentally, and we don't need that. Okay. So just turn all that out. We're on schedule. We're on track. These riots are going to slow things down a bit. Okay.
Patty, can I
Yes.
ask sort of a related question to my eviction? So
Yes.
on our property, there are 2 units, 2 houses, and the back house is a great tenant. We have said nothing to that tenant about this situation, nothing. We should continue to say nothing. We're a little concerned about what the narrative will be with the bad tenant saying something against us to the good tenant. But you advise.
Who cares?
I know, but I don't care. When can I talk to the tenant? When can I actually talk to the good tenant after I get the?
You can talk to the good tenant and say something along the lines of, it looks like your neighbor will be vacating shortly. If you would be so kind to call me and let me know when you see the moving truck.
Oh, really? Okay.
Did I just say they were being evicted?
No.
Did I say there was legal? Did I say the cops were coming? Did I say anything bad?
Okay.
And if you paid attention, I didn't use definite terms. It appears that your neighbor may be moving in the near future. I'd appreciate it if you let me know when you see the moving truck.
Okay.
I said may. I didn't say will.
Okay.
Don't use definite terms. They may be moving in the near future.
Okay.
Remember, definite terms give you a definite problem. Indefinite terms give you indefinite answers and no definite answer, which gets you in trouble.
Right.
It all goes back to those, remember 7th grade English class and our absolute terms?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely don't use them. Use could, should, might, maybe, most likely.
Right. And I think you advise us too, like, I'm sort of avoiding the area, honestly, because the bad tenant is kind of unhinged. But I would like to chat with neighbors and hand them a Starbucks card or whatever and just say the same thing, like, hey,
Your neighbors may be moving out soon.
Right.
If you notify me when you see the moving truck, it would be greatly appreciated. I'd love to buy you a cup of coffee. Here's a Starbucks card.
Yep. Okay. Thank you.
No problem. If the property title is under a family trust naming 4 brothers and sisters, only one of the sisters wants to make the lease under her name. Is this legal? You want me to honestly answer that, Belsie? It's a real estate transaction and should be under title that is on property so that one person is not collecting all the rents and it's actually a check being made out to the family trust and being deposited in the family trust bank account. Got it?
Yes, actually the check is gonna be sent out to the trust account, not to the sisters.
The lease should have the landlord listed as the name of the trust. It's the best way to protect. Look at it this way. You're telling the tenant, this is who you sue if something goes wrong. I wouldn't want my name there. Why that person wants their name there is beyond me. It shouldn't be because the agreement isn't between them and the tenant. It's between the family trust and the tenant. So
Yeah, but
should be the family trust.
In theory, Patty, but what if a judge invalidates the entire lease because you're usually supposed to make agreements with a trustee of a trust?
Well, that's what it should say. Is it should say blah 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 trustee of the
Oh yeah,
family
no,
trust.
right, but they need to sign as trustee of the family trust, not just the.
Bingo.
What I'm saying is, don't just put the family trust name on it. As the
Bingo.
landlord.
When you sign the lease, you also need to sign an individual's name that says behind it trustee of the blank family trust or whatever your trust is called.
And then, frankly, it partly depends on what the trust says about whether everybody's required to act together or not. So,
correct.
You wouldn't want the whole thing tossed because in discovery, the judge orders you to produce the trust.
What our lovely advisor is telling us is we want to see what the trust says.
Right.
Okay, that BK automatic stay is a PETA. You have to go to court, file a motion in bankruptcy court. Exactly. Exactly. It buys them more time. It's exactly what happens. He is willing to. He is willing to what, Roadrunner? As manager, you should let the owner know the options, possible lawsuit, etc. Oh, I'm way back here and talking. Okay, I'm going. I'm sorry, you guys. Yeah, you can have him call me about his rodents and I'll explain to him what in the hell he's signing up for. Can I ask you a question? And I need you to be transparent with me. Is this person a slumlord or uneducated? Just help me so I understand what I'm helping you with. Because you guys can answer that question like this, even though you don't want to say it, uneducated. There you go. Because that helps so much when they're uneducated because it's easy for me to educate them. Just ask them, do you look good in orange? Do you have $500,000 you want to throw in the toilet? Tenants will sue everyone, as you know. Yes, absolutely. I have no problem educating. That's what I do. It's getting warmer and there's a chicken behind us. Can you see her? It's the white one. She's nice. Here, chick, 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 chick. Here, chick, 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 chick. Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. Oh, they're gonna talk now.
Patti, I have a quick question in regard to the ADU that I built. Right now, currently, the front house just has one tenant. The or the ADU has one tenant. The water bill, it's 1 meter, so it's shared based on the square footage. If that, most likely the front tenant is going to move out though. So hypothetically, if a family of 5 comes in and they're, sharing the water bill with the tenant, the ADU in the back house, there's only one tenant. I get, like, that's what they signed up for because it's only based on square footage, regardless of number of people. Obviously, that's technically not fair because 5 more people are going to use a lot more water than one person. Can it be written that the front house pays for the back house's water, and in exchange, maybe like the person in the back will mow the front person's lawn or something like that? Can that be done?
It's whatever all parties agree to.
Oh, okay. So that is an option, assuming everyone agrees to it.
Bingo.
Okay, great. Thanks.
It will become a problem when the person that's one tenant then gets a girlfriend and they have 3 babies, and then they didn't tell you until they're frustrated and pissed off that this should be addressed differently. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. The back
you know
tenant.
that,
Yeah.
but they don't tell you until it's 5 or 6 months later and they're pissed off,
Yeah.
That's
No, I
when you
understand.
find out about it. All right. Anybody else have anything? Otherwise, I'm going to go fishing with my sister. I'm looking. She's not pacing the window yet, telling me it's time. But if anybody else has anything, throw it at me. Let's get it out there for today. Nothing. Everybody's like, go fishing, Patti, have fun. I was in altitude camping for 3 days. That was a lot of fun. We rented a group camp, so it was just us and the family. So that was nice. We did have some people wander through our camp wanting to fish in our area, and my sister talked to them and they went away. I didn't have to do anything. It was awesome.
Thanks for sharing this part of you, Patti.
Yes, my dad wanted a boy.
You got something better.
I like to fish. I like to be out in nature. I like chickens. I like vegetables and growing things. And yeah, I like that type of thing.
Thank you.
No problem.
We enjoy you. Thank you so much for this.
No problem. No problem. If anybody needs anything, I will probably be here for another day or so, because why would you leave?
What do you use as bait? What's your bait? Do you have to get worms?
I use worms if I'm fishing here. Locally, I don't do all the power bait and all that stuff. If you know how to read the water, you know where the fish are. And chances are they eat worms in the wild. And I can verify this because me and my niece scooped up 2 handfuls of sand that was just full of fool's gold. And I was going to pick out the fool's gold and take it to my grandson, have some fun with him. And as we're picking out the giant flakes of fool's gold in the 2 handfuls of sand, we noticed 3 worms poking up and sticking their head out. And I thought, okay, I don't want to touch this anymore because now I'm kind of grossed out. But at the same time, hello, that's what's in the water. The fish are eating it there naturally, so that's what you want to feed them. Power bait works for a lot of different reasons also, but fish, when you're fishing in nature, they don't know what garlic and cheese bait is and power bait. They know worms. So I've had my most luck with worms.
Great. Well, thank you for all your help and advice on so many levels.
And just for the record, I did catch a rock cod last Wednesday or last Thursday in the ocean with a red vine. You know, the licorice. Apparently he had a sweet tooth.
Have fun. Thanks for sharing.
Bye. Thanks for doing this, Patti. Have a good one. Get home safely. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye, everybody. Have a great week. If you need me, call me. I'll be in range. Bye, everybody.
Have fun. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What you